السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. May Allah accept our prayers. May Allah gather us with the Prophet ﷺ in Jannat al-Firdaus as we are gathered in this beautiful gathering. Inshallah, we are continuing our journey with Madarij al-Salikin, with the stations of the seekers for Imam Ibn al-Qayyim. And if you recall, last week we did cover Manzilat. Which station did we cover last week? Al-Raja, hope. So we are moving from hope to another one, which is a critical station that each and every one of us, I would say it's not only missing, but we need to dwell in way more than what we are doing. So today we are going through Manzilat al-Zuhd, asceticism. And to give it kind of the functional meaning, which is the liberation from the chains of worldliness. Az-Zuhd, mistakenly, lots of us would think that when we talk about a person that he is Zahid, that means that this person doesn't have a lot of wealth, for sure, doesn't have a lot of position, like a lot of worldly gains. So that's why he is losing interest in life. And that's completely the opposite of what we mean by Zuhd. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim here is defining Zuhd as, he's giving it a very eloquent definition. So الزهد ليس ترك المال أو التملك إنما هو خلو القلب من التعلق بالدنيا فلا تملكك حتى وإن ملكتها. So in other words, Zuhd is not abandoning wealth or possessions. Zuhd, it's freeing the heart from the attachment to the world. So even if you own the world, it doesn't own you. In other words, you dwell deeper in this. الزهد ترك ما لا ينفع في الآخرة. And that's actually one of the most eloquent sentences that you can ever hear. Zuhd is abandoning what doesn't benefit in the hereafter. It's as simple as this. Anything that doesn't benefit you in the hereafter, you leave it. It's not of benefit. So we are not here talking about wealth only. Anything. So why don't we define this anything? Imam Ibn al-Qayyim defines three levels, three categories of zuhd. The first one is leaving the forbidden, leaving ما نهي عنه, ترك الحرام. So that's the first level, that's the basic level. That you leave whatever is haram, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained as haram. So you should leave it. Second level, again, we are leaving whatever isn't benefiting us in the hereafter. So we would leave the excess. So you have something halal, not haram, but you are exceeding in it. إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like those who would exceed, even who would dwell more than needed, even if it's in halal. So that's the second level. The third level, which is amazing. تَرْكْ مَا يُشْغِلْ عَنِ اللَّهِ وَلَوْ كَانَ مُبَاحًا. So leaving anything that distracts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if it's permissible. So we are not here talking about the excess. We are talking about assessing everything that you are doing on a 24/7 and then saying, oh, you know what, this is halal. And it's not excess. I'm not except doing it once every week. But let's say this week I'm not doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obviously, leaving what is excess. Let's say, for example, I like watching games, but you don't need to watch games 5 hours a week. Maybe an hour is okay. So that's the excess. But cutting it completely, say like, you know what, for a week, or for in Ramadan, for example, I won't go to the gym, or I won't watch games, or so. Or in this month, or like on a Monday, for example, I love going out, however, I would fast this Monday for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are examples of these three levels. So, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about zuhd, asceticism in Quran? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah An-Nahl, ما عندكم ينفد وما عند الله باق. Whatever you have vanishes, perishes. And whatever is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never, ever, everlasting, never ending. And you build on this with the other verse in Surah Al-Qasas. وَابْتَغِ فِي مَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. So whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, seek through it the hereafter. And don't forget your share in this life. Which means you are geared to life or to hereafter. Your mindset is geared towards what? You tell me. وَابْتَغِي فِيمَا أَتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةِ. You are geared towards the hereafter. But you are okay to take your share from this dunya. How about if your share is to be a billionaire? It's fine. Because at the end of the day, you will use this wealth towards the hereafter. Your mindset is towards the hereafter. Like the companions used to say, Allahumma aj'al ad-dunya fi aydina wa la taj'alha fi qulubina. It's okay that you have all the wealth of the world, the Qarunic wealth, but it doesn't mean that you will have the Qarunic feeling. Qarun said, قَالَ إِنَّمَا أُتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. I've been granted this just because of my knowledge, because I'm smart, because I have a PhD, because I'm this, I'm that. That's not your expected attitude, even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you rizq, even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you provision, even if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you status in this life. And look at what the Prophet ﷺ says. ازهد في الدنيا يحبك الله وازهد فيما عند الناس يحبك الناس. رواه ابن ماجه وصححه الألباني. So the Prophet ﷺ says, be indifferent to the world and Allah would love you. And be indifferent means like don't look much into what people have and people would love you by then. And the other hadith which is also very relevant, الدنيا سجن المؤمن وجنة الكافر. Life is the prison of the believer and it's a paradise of the disbeliever. May Allah make us among those that life is a prison to them. So, and that's an indication of zuhd. Because at the end of the day, you have all the decorations, you have all the ornaments, you have everything in this life. But for some reason, you can't actually take full benefit of it like people do. Because you are looking at something else. Your heart is attached to something else, completely different than anyone else. You are attached to Allah, to what pleases Allah. So even if people, just like the regular joys of life, it's okay to have some joy, some enjoyment, but that shouldn't be your main target. It's kind of coming as a byproduct, not the main target. So now, what are the signs of asceticism? Like as usual, we end with the signs, and how do we achieve this level? What are the signs of zuhd? The number one sign, أن تكون الدنيا في يدك ولا تكون في قلبك, as we mentioned, that life will be in your hands and in your possession, in your hands, not in your heart. But the second one is extremely important. That if people would praise you or they would blame you, it's equal. It doesn't matter. I really don't care about what people think about me. Of course, as long as I'm doing everything halal and so on. But whether they like me, whether like we end this and you say like, this is amazing, mashallah, or like, oh, what is it that you have done, or what is it that you have said that doesn't make any sense? I don't care. Why? Because I'm doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and obviously, you take this and you reapply it to every single situation in life. You are doing, ask yourself before every single action, are you doing it for you to be praised or to be well known or to be kind of thanked for this, or you are doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's why the implication of this is always keep for yourself some line of actions that no one knows about, ever. That's why they tell you, wake up before Fajr. Why? Because no one is awake before Fajr. Especially in your home, and like try to find yourself a corner and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the time when you are by yourself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third one, never despair for anything that you've missed. لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم. As Allah said in Surah Al-Hadid, that if you miss any of the worldly gains, at the end of the day, we just said that you are not working towards those. So it's okay. And whatever is you've missed, it has been ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it doesn't matter. So you shouldn't be like dwelling much in the past. You shouldn't be dwelling in whatever you have missed or despairing. And finally, that you occupy yourself for whatever that would really get you to your target, which is the hereafter. So what are the aspects that if you are to do to like you hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you get to this level, asceticism. Increasing the remembrance of death. Increasing the remembrance of the interrupter of all sorts of desires, which is death, as the Prophet ﷺ told us. Reading about the ascetic lives of the companions. Reading about examples, because sometimes you feel that, oh, this is not doable at all. This is not achievable. Read about the companions. Read about the tabi'een. And read about their lives in order for you to understand that it's doable. There are some people who lived on this earth who've done it before. So why not me? And the third one is thinking about the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aren't we saying that we are to attach ourselves to the hereafter? How many times a day you are thinking about the hereafter? What's the percentage of your day that you are actually pondering upon what's happening in the hereafter, what will happen in the hereafter? How many times you are thinking about when you are standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. How many times does this come to your mind? Then how are you preparing for it? So, and finally, the fourth one, this amazing dua. اللهم لا تجعل الدنيا في أيدينا اللهم لا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا اللهم لا تجعل, let's say it inshallah, اللهم لا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا. Oh Allah, do not make this world our greatest concern or the extent of our knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be among the zahideen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to practice zuhd ourselves, our beloved, our families, our children. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resurrect us with Sayyidu Zahideen, with the Prophet ﷺ. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resurrect us with Zahideen who came before us, who will come after us all the way in the day of judgment. قُلُوا قَوْلِي هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ لِي وَلَكُمْ. As a reminder, as we always remind ourselves, increase the salah upon the Prophet ﷺ in the night of every Friday, sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and throughout the day, all the way till the Maghrib of Friday. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم وجزاكم الله خيرا.